Hey everyone, this is Captain Morgan.
This the realest JB.
And welcome to another episode of
Co-op Reviews.
Hey everybody,
Motherfucker.
don't you just love the sweet sound of my voice?
You're not gonna wear that the whole time, are you?
So, today we're talking about one of my favorite superheroes, the Big DP.
Everybody loves a little DP, Morgan.
Especially the lovely Indian sidekick cab driver, whose name I forget, but he
Depender.
Depender.
Depender, yes.
He was great.
Oh,
so
man.
we're not going to talk about spoilers yet.
Yet.
We're just going to do So as a sequel, how do you think the movie went over as a sequel?
Well, this movie was definitely bigger. Mm-hmm. Definitely a lot more people.
You could tell there was more of a budget.
Exactly. You could tell in some areas, definitely more of a budget. You know, definitely a lot more people involved in this project.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely bigger cast.
Yeah. Bigger cast, bigger crew, bigger special effects. Definitely a lot of CG going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
They made some jokes in the trailers, in the promotional material with
with
his
the green arm.
Yeah.
Like who the put the.
It's a metal arm. It's not like we're trying to CGI a mustache. Oh man, there were some great references to both the Marvel and DC franchises that were really solid.
Yeah, man. As a, you look at the last movie, which is pretty much just a parody of just superhero films in general.
Yeah.
You know, this one was so much more specific, and you can tell in the trailers, like he calls Cable Thanos.
Yeah.
Easy Thanos.
He makes another great joke. You're so dark. Are you from the DC universe?
Exactly. He's actually calling out. I mean, there was a little bit of that in the first movie, but it was reserved. But now it's just like he's taking shots at everyone.
I think some of the charm is lost because the first one we really didn't know what we were gonna get, and it was such a surprise.
Yeah.
This time they had to really reach for that, and I think it's always harder for a sequel of a movie like this to really do as well as the original because they have such a high bar, and you know what you're going into. You have to surprise your audience, but I do think they did a good job of towing the line between funny and annoying.
Yes, and that's a thing, because this movie is a bit of a niche movie. You know, if you're not too into the super meta fourth wall breaking thing, it's probably going to annoy you. But a lot of people need to understand that's kind of the point of Deadpool.
Right.
Only in Deadpool's comics is he cool. Only in Deadpool comics is he funny. Most of the time.
Well, it's because he's in that medium, and he uses the medium to his own advantage. And in fact, they do really, because I know in the comics of Deadpool, he's got his little thought bubbles, but he's kind of got multiple personalities, and the thought bubbles talk to each other and to him.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, I think they definitely didn't do what I was worried about. Like when the first movie came out, I was worried he was gonna have voiceovers, like just straight out of the comics, but they did a really good job of taking it into a modern cinematic, really revamping the franchise but still feeling faithful to the original.
Oh, absolutely.
To the original, yeah.
Absolutely. The performance of Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool it's akin to like Robert Downey Jr. doing Tony Stark or Johnny Depp doing Jack Sparrow.
You can tell it's a passion for him, for sure. It comes naturally.
Exactly. And, it goes from the marketing campaign from the first film to this marketing campaign to where they're literally hijacking everybody's like movie box art.
Yep.
Like go see the second Deadpool movie.
They did the marketing campaign, and the marketing campaign for this in general has been really fascinating because it's been very meta-narrative. It's Deadpool is obviously out there advertising his movie, but he does it in a way that's funny.
Exactly.
And it
he does it in a way that only Deadpool can really do.
Right. And I think one of the interesting things about like the way that they've been doing all of this stuff is and we'll get a little more into this a little later on, but the way that a lot of the stuff that happened in the trailers compared to how it happened in the actual movie, I do think they used a lot of the best jokes in the trailers, which they always do. But I still thought some of the funniest moments were the trailer moments.
Well, yeah, I do have a bit of an issue with the footage that they chose to show during the trailer and the footage that they chose to show in the actual movie.
Right.
Which
right.
isn't really new, but because a lot of the beats that they showed in the trailer were pretty significant,
Yeah.
if you get what I'm saying, and then to see or not see that in the final cut could make somebody feel some kind of way about it.
Right. I think altogether, it was a really fun movie.
Absolutely.
I think the first one was a little bit better, but I think they did a great job of making a sequel. So we're going to go into spoiler territory here. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, just switch off. Make sure you hit that subscribe button
hit
before you leave.
subscribe, like, all that good stuff, and
Go
then
see the movie.
get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Because now it's spoiler talk. And
Okay, everybody gone? Everybody? Okay.
definitely leave if you're not. Yeah, so straight up, I'm just going to get into it. What I was alluding to earlier about certain narrative decisions that they chose to show and not show.
I think the first thing we should talk about is the X-Force.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the X-Force. So.
And the lack thereof.
And the lack thereof. But accompanied by some well surprising cameos.
Yeah.
Like, of course, we saw Terry Crews in the trailer as Bedlam, and but I did know a lot about Shatterstar, and I was so excited to see what they were gonna do with him, and they just fucking kill all of them. But also, did you catch the Vanisher was Brad Pitt?
Brad Pitt.
That was like the most like that was the biggest laugh I got, just because like he literally only had like 2 frames.
I'm pretty sure they CGI'd like his face in there. Like,
yeah, dude, like I was just
Speaking of
like, what
cameos,
the fuck is that? Brad Pitt?
Speaking of cameos, I think the biggest laugh I got was when Wade is walking through the mansion, and he's like, the studio couldn't have thrown in a couple of more mutants, and they do that side shot with everyone, and I'm like,
oh my god.
I clapped.
Oh my god.
I clapped. I laughed.
So, and that's what they normally do. Like, you guys, like what we were talking about earlier, like Deadpool is only cool in his own comics. Like, no, that's true. When he's in other people's comics, like X-Men or X-Force or doing some shit with Wolverine or Cable, he's annoying. The rest of the Marvel universe, with the exception of, Lady Death and Spider-Man, pretty much can't freaking stand to be around him. Yep. And they literally have to find shit for him to do so he doesn't fuck up what they're doing. I did not appreciate what they did with the X-Force, though. I mean, the first time I didn't. Second time I found a more appreciation of it because they wrapped it up like, okay, I guess, Cable is still there. Domino is still there.
Yeah, I love Domino's performance. She was probably my favorite character in this one. I was a little disappointed that Negasonic and her new GF, which A+ for giving more LGBT representation.
Absolutely, and not making a big fucking deal about it.
Exactly.
They were just like, oh, that's your girlfriend? Ha, that's cute. And
she was also one of my favorite characters, but she didn't get enough screen time.
Yeah, man.
I think the two of them deserved a lot more than they got, because Negasonic got so much like love from the first one. She made half that movie worthwhile.
Yeah, and she didn't. I agree. She definitely didn't have enough of a presence in there, like she did in the first one. Like, yeah, she came and she made her snarky remarks, but I mean, I guess that's what happens when you get a girlfriend. You just like, oh, I don't want to hang out with you guys anymore. I'm gonna go do fun
my
stuff
own
with
thing.
my girlfriend.
Yeah. I do hope that she comes back in the later films. Speaking of later films, what did they do to the timeline? What happened?
Oh my god. Oh man, I didn't see that shit.
Are they gonna be able to make a third one?
Dude, I don't know, because he saved Vanessa. So it's just like, wait, so did all that other stuff technically happen since Vanessa's alive? And
it's all butterfly effect at this point.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I'll say this, like, this is a great time to, like, go ahead and explain the multiverse, because there is a multiverse in Marvel.
There is. I don't know if a modern day audience is ready for it. I don't know if we'll ever be ready for a multiverse.
Man,
honestly.
it's gonna have to happen eventually, because you got to explain all these fucking reboots, dude.
Well,
all these recastings and all this shit going.
I
mean, they
maybe,
kind of already
maybe
did
just
it.
Shoving them off to the side.
they kind of like stepped into it with X-Men: Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we're gonna time travel and completely retcon this entire timeline, and now Professor Xavier is James McAvoy.
Right.
So,
I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, and now the weirdest thing about the whole thing is that it's all owned by Disney, and they're going to be putting it into their Avengers franchise. I mean, I still want to see Avengers meets X-Men in 2020.
Who doesn't?
I mean,
here's the thing, and I'll say this about the whole Fox Disney deal. Mm-hmm. These aren't a bunch of nerds on these business tables making these deals. It's a bunch of old money white dudes that could give a shit less about these comics or any of these properties.
They only care about bottom dollar.
Exactly.
I liked the throwback to X-Force gray outfit.
Yeah.
It was so subtle, but it was like, hey, I know exactly what you're doing there.
Exactly. I was like, oh, X-Force uniform, but it's a man can dream. When that X-Force movie comes out, it's gonna be there. They have to do that uniform. That's
and Peter's still alive.
Peter is still alive. Told Peter to go to fuck home. Didn't give a shit about anybody else. Didn't he could have like time traveled all the way back to the plane.
And been like, you know what, nobody,
like,
just
you
everybody
guys,
go home.
you know what, let's just land the plane and then we'll just get on. Nah, fuck it. Let everyone else still die. Peter, go the fuck home. Go the fuck home, Peter. You have no powers. You have no business being here. Get the fuck out of here. Because at first, the tone felt like it was all over the place.
Mm-hmm. The second act did run a little long, I felt.
Oh, yeah.
And I did think that the Deadpool dying, not dying joke went a little too far. Also, it's the whole, like, you got to make another movie. We know you're not going to die.
Exactly. There was definitely a lot more missed jokes in this movie than there was in the last movie.
I felt like there was also a lot of period references, like references that are not going to age well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's definitely a product of its time.
The Martha joke at the very beginning.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's what we were saying earlier, like, these jokes are so specific that it's just like, now it's hilarious, but 20 years from now it's just like, what movie was he referencing just then?
Right.
Kind of like but because the actual content of the story is still pretty engaging and good and all that, it'll still age pretty well. But some of those, there's going to be a lot more missed jokes in the future because of it.
What did you think about the Juggernaut plot?
Oh man, honestly, him being there didn't really affect the story at all. He was just a big dude for Colossus to fight.
I felt like they wanted a big ending fight scene. I think it worked as a whole, and I liked seeing them bring back Juggernaut because he's like one of the best X-Men villains. But they don't use him enough. They
totally underutilized him. He didn't do, he was just a big dumb, which, don't get me wrong, Juggernaut is not the smartest, deepest Marvel character by any means. But, like, at least in this case, he was just a big dumb dude for, the little Fire Fist kid to boss around. And, I freaking love the only reason
Deadpool.
That's what I'm saying. I like that. That was the only reason why I liked Juggernaut, was he ripped Deadpool in half and we got to see the baby legs.
Yep.
Oh my god.
That whole scene.
Oh my god.
That whole scene.
Dude, that whole scene with the baby leg, and I love his blind lady roommate.
Yep. She needs to be in every scene. She is the funniest.
She does, and he is just such a shitty roommate. I'm so happy I'm not blind and have Deadpool as a roommate, because number one, he has the cure for blindness under his fucking floorboard next to like these 20 kilos of cocaine. Oh my god. And he's just like, I'm not gonna give this to her. Even though he did tell her he had. I definitely liked more of the character moments that we did have, like with Cable about his family. Like, oh shit, okay, yeah, I definitely understand why he's doing this. It's not right. You're still a fucking psychopath because he's a little kid, but you know what? Fine.
Yeah.
Like, well, that's permissible. You know, and his character moments with Vanessa and her dying.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
they that was a really big shift at the very beginning of the film.
Yeah.
It was a surprise, and I didn't think they were going to go there that early.
Yeah.
I still don't know how, you know, I mean, there were some missed beats. I think as a whole, the movie's good, not as good as the original, but definitely worth seeing, and I'd watch it on DVD also, after watching it in the theater.
I would too. Definitely go see it in the theater. See it in a crowd if you can, just so you can absorb that energy. Because, like you said, like some of these, there are a lot of missed beats, but I'm a type of person that'll feed off of my feed off the crowd. Like,
Yeah, definitely a movie that you need to see with friends.
Absolutely. Oh,
yeah.
Fuck yes, absolutely. But you know, if I had a takeaway from it, you know, it definitely does. All my complaints set aside, it definitely does still, in my case, successfully set up X-Force and using them in the future. It definitely does make Deadpool a lot more relatable because we see him as this like super meta and never really takes anything seriously. He does have his own values, and we saw that in this movie, like literally the line of his values that he will cross, especially in the comics where he's just super duper batshit crazy and he just does batshit crazy shit. This one, he's definitely a lot more grounded and definitely a lot more relatable.
Yeah, relatable to the audience for sure. But, you know, we'll have more reviews for you. If you enjoyed it, make sure you like and comment and subscribe for more content.
Subscribe to Co-Optimistic down below.
So, thanks for watching another episode of
Co-op Reviews, motherfucker. You didn't have to do that. You didn't have to put it back on.
So chimichangas after this?
Fucking lucky I love chimichangas.